Owl was one of the primary power animals from the earliest times of shamanism in Siberia thousands of years ago. Often in the east, brought by the wind, Owl comes out of the darkness into dusk or dawn. Owl takes you deep into your own inner world. The owl can go anywhere. She glides silently on the currents of your own dreams. Just as easily, she flies inside the tree trunk or inside your dreams. The owl is a witness in silence and clarity. With Owl, you start in a place where you are seen for who you are. Everything about your life, your dreams, your imagination, your spirit is seen with clarity. The unconscious becomes revealed. When the owl looks inside of us, we understand we can go wherever we desire. Owl teaches that life is not about being loved unconditionally, but rather being seen unconditionally. When Owl is present, there is no judgment. She sees with a gaze that is pristine, clear, real, and truthful. Shamans start at the place where they see themselves as they truly are, with clear vision. Nothing hides from Owl. Nothing is invisible. The power of this clarity of vision is great. As Owl takes you into her body, you can fly through darkness with precision and grace. The unknown becomes clear. It is as if you become part of the darkness with perfect safety. This perfection in flight and in life becomes yours. With Owl, we see beyond death to rebirth. Sometimes people fear Owl because they want their vision to stop at death. Owl sees through the veils of death to the other side. She tells you the legends of the owls, singing to you, "Come through my feathers, go into the darkness. I will show you what lives there. I will show you the world within." Owl brings visions to light, dreams to consciousness. Let yourself embody the spirit owl. Her way of seeing is deeper than your own, and she will show you how to go there with her. As you see through the eyes of the owl, you see what she sees in the darkness, and you hear what she hears. Go within, travel in silence. In the darkness, truth is revealed. The essence of the owl is inner vision and the ability to look deep inside ourselves without fear. We are tuned in to fitness and consciousness. Tonight I had an amazing experience with the owl. I went to the woods with my buddy Joey Lavelle. On Instagram, he's at Fearless Sloth. And we go out to the woods. It's been a while since we went, not that long, but we went out to these woods, and like not too long into it, we started we were climbing trees and stuff, and we were climbing one and see an owl in the tree that we're already climbing, and pointed it out, and he's like, "Whoa!" And he was able to climb up farther than I was, and so he was just looking at the owl from 20 feet away, maybe, in the same tree. And then we get to walking a while, and we have all kinds of fun, jumping on logs and lifting logs, and we're about to leave, and we see this tree that had fallen over, some other trees that had fallen over, and thought it would be a fun place to jump around, climb and jump around. So we start doing that, and whoa, man, look. And I pointed, and there was an owl in that tree that we're climbing on. And it was towards the end of the tree. We were towards the trunk of the tree, and the owl was more towards the top, and it had fallen over. And so I start walking closer, and I'm asking Owl, if it's okay if I keep getting closer? And I kept hearing yes. I think it was okay. And I kept getting closer and closer. And I got to where there were like too many branches in my way to keep on there, so I asked if it was okay. I'm asking the owl if it's okay. Is it okay if I get down and climb back up on this other side to get closer? And it seemed like it was okay, so I climbed down and I climbed back up, trying not to shake too much. I know owls, they're at the top of trees. They don't mind a little shaking, but I wanted to create as little disturbance as I could. I didn't want him or her to fly away. And so I climbed up and I was sitting probably less than 3 feet away from this owl. I think it was a great horned owl. I'll have to look it up and make sure, but it was a foot and a half tall, probably, or more. Maybe, it was a pretty big owl. It looked like it might have even been like maybe a younger great horned owl. I'm not for sure. I'll have to look it up. Probably should have checked that out. Which sounded even smarter and mysterious here. But anyways, we were just looking into each other's eyes for I don't even know how long. And my buddy Joey, he was still at the other end of the tree, climbing around. And then after a while, I got down and he climbed back up. He climbed up where I was. And it was such an amazing experience. And he was able to get just as close as I did and spend time looking at this owl, looking into the eyes of the owl. Pretty intense. And also very calm, but also very intense, because this is a predator. This thing, this being, just probably faster than I could even blink. It could have those incredibly sharp, strong talons on my face. It could happen just boom, and then I'd have a face full of owl talons. I'm still processing how it all happened. I put up a couple pictures. I got a bunch. I tried to spend a good amount of time not trying to take pictures, just be there with Owl. I wanted to get good pictures, and I also didn't want to just spend the whole time taking pictures. And then, so after I climbed down, Joey climbed up. We left before the owl flew away. The owl was there after we already left. So that's kind of like part of my thing in the woods. If I see deer, I'll try to get closer. I'll see if it's okay. I'm asking the deer permission to get closer. And then if I start to get close enough to that they start to walk away, then I back off and I go the other way. And I wait until maybe they come closer to me. I don't want to get so close that I make them go away. That's not fair. It's their space more than it is mine. It's their space more than it is mine. Yeah, what a great experience. I'm processing it more and more, and I mean, it just happened just a few hours ago. So this show, even before what happened today, I was going to call this show our portfolio, and not meaning like literal stocks and bonds, but what do you spend your money on? What do you spend your time on? Who are you spending your time with? Your friends, your family? What experiences are going into your portfolio? What kind of stuff do you have? What stuff do you like? What do you collect? What do you like to collect, and why are you collecting it? One of the things that I thought was interesting lately, or something interesting to think about, guess that means the same thing, doesn't it? But so I opened this gym with Valery Fedorenko, and when we moved in, we didn't have to buy any equipment. He had a ton of kettlebells. I had a ton of kettlebells, literally tons. And um, so we already invested that. Like these kettlebells were already in our portfolio. See what I mean? So we didn't really have to buy anything. And then since then, I did buy a new like a new rack for my Olympic plates and to hold my Olympic bar and trap bar, so they could be like straightened, stored straight up and out of the way. And so I did like buy like a couple things. I got a new jujitsu mat. I don't advertise I teach jujitsu. I don't really. I don't. I've been doing it for a long time, but that's just like an invitation only kind of thing. Train with friends. Uh, but anyways, I already had all these kettlebells, so we had all the equipment to open a gym um, without any kind of investment or anything other than the deposit in the first month's lease. But why did I have all those kettlebells? Well, obviously I use them, but I have a lot of them that are weights that are too small for me to use. So I've been teaching for a long time also, so that's the other obvious answer, is I teach people of pretty much all ages and fitness levels, not just kettlebells, but body weight training, barbell, all kinds of stuff. But these kettlebells, they get experiences. And so after all of the hands, they like pick up one of the kettlebells, and that kettlebell it has a story of its own. And a lot of people have made kettlebells part of their own story, whether it's part of their weight loss, their strength gain, part of their um, being. Like you look on Facebook or on Instagram, Facebook too, I guess, but there's a lot of people showing off what they do with kettlebells. And when I say showing off, I mean that as a compliment. I like it. I like it. I'm not saying show off as like some kind of bad thing. I think it's cool. I want to see people showing off. I think it's cool. But you see a lot of people doing all kinds of stuff with kettlebells, and maybe there's some stuff I don't like. But for the most part, I'm cool with whatever anybody wants to do with them. And they're part of people's stories. And, they've helped people get better at martial arts. And some of the people that I've taught have improved their martial arts with kettlebells. And it's not like if you're bad at martial arts, kettlebells will make you good. But it's like if you already know what you're doing with martial arts, kettlebells will make you better. So if you're not a very good martial artist, kettlebells aren't going to solve that problem. It's more training in martial arts, but the kettlebells can give you power, more endurance, strength endurance, power endurance, teach you about pacing, breathing, relaxing under pressure, because you'll literally be holding on to however heavy it is, 24 kilograms, 32 kilograms, 100 pounds, whatever. And, that's kind of how martial arts is. Like you have to learn how to relax under pressure. If you're just too tense the whole time, you're going to get tired fast. But you can't just be too relaxed because you'll just get beat up. So there's these investments that I've made, over years of all these kettlebells. They've added a lot of significant stories for me from clients and students. All of the hands that have held those kettlebells, all the spirit of people trying to improve, whatever it is that they're trying to improve. Strength, power, endurance, feel better, move better. Now, I think they kind of collect that. I believe like there's kind of like maybe energy imprints. Like if Um, like there's a little bit of there's a little bit of somebody, a little bit of everybody in those kettlebells that have touched them, including maybe the people that made them, the people at the foundry. They're working hard. It's really hot. It's hard work. Make these kettlebells, and so part even they are in on it. What do you invest your money on? What kind of experiences and stuff? And like the story I was telling earlier about the owl, which I think I'm going to be unpacking those lessons for. I'm going to be unpacking that experience for a long time. And I hope my audio is sounding good. My video is like freezing up on me and stuff. I don't know what the deal is. I'll have to ask someone about that. But hopefully it sounds right. So where was I? Oh, so like this experience today of going out to the woods. So my buddy Joey, like he sent me a message and asked me if I want to go out. At first, we were going to go to Fort Benjamin Harrison Park. It's a nice state park, and like cool. So I get there before him, and there is a line, a huge line of cars to get in, and people are just like turning around because it was just so packed. I mean, it was just so packed. Really nice day. Today is April 21st. Yeah, Sunday. It's Easter, April 21st. Super nice day here in Indianapolis. And so I guess everybody's taking their families out to the woods, which is super cool. I prefer woods that don't have so many people. So I called Joey. I was like, man, I'm cool for riding through this line, but people are turning back, and it's back. The line is from the where you pay out to Post Road, which is it's a long way. And he's like, oh man, he's like, okay, well let's go somewhere else. And he suggested this other spot. I'd never been there before. It's crazy. I'd never been there before. I've been to everywhere around here, but not here. And we had a bunch of fun climbing trees, jumping around, balancing, lifting logs. Saw this owl, like the first owl, even being 20 feet away from it, 30 feet away from it. Super cool. We were super stoked about seeing this owl, and this guy and his son, we saw them walking by. I was like, hey, you want to see an owl? And so they come up to us, and they're looking at the owl, and we get to talking to them for a while. Super cool, real nice guy and his son. His son climbed up the tree, and such a great experience. And then seeing this other owl, which was later on after we did all kinds of other stuff, and you could see the first owl from where we were. It was just incredible. It was just so these experiences would invest in our time. So it's like, okay, how do I want to spend my time? And just like Joey was saying, he said, like, I never regret going out to the woods. Yeah, it's always cool, even if you don't have. I mean, there's these different levels of peak experience, right? So I've been going out to the woods since I was in my mom's belly, from a little kid down like southern Indiana, running around the hills with my dad. We didn't like just stick to a trail. We'd get going, maybe we start going down the trail, walking down the creek bed, and which way did we go? We'd look, is that hill bigger than that hill? Okay, well then we'll go up the bigger one. And we'll just try to run up, and we're climbing up and sliding down because it's so steep, and our dogs are running back and forth because it's so much easier for them. And we're running up the hill and sliding down and grabbing onto trees and climbing, and we get to the top of that, and then we start walking around and just roaming around, picking different places that look cool. And then it's like, should we go up that one or that one? Which one's more steep? Which one's bigger? Which one's looks harder? And just run up that one, and climb, like by run, sometimes it's just claw and barely moving until we get to the top. And that's how we did it. We just run and climb, and it was always so fun. Joey grew up the same way. He grew up in the woods climbing, and yeah, next Saturday, April 27th, I turned 40 years old, and I could tell, like, for some reason, like today, like even like balancing on some of the stuff, like um, it's like I felt a little bit more free. I mean, I've had decent balance, for a long time, and I'd walk across logs or walk across trees that were over creeks or whatever, and but it was like today I was even feeling like I was walking along some pretty thin logs and jumping from one to the next, and it was like really dialing in some of this stuff. And probably part of it is being around Joey. He's I think like 26, 27, something like that, and good at parkour and all kinds of that kind of stuff. So it's like maybe if I was hanging out with some like old guy that didn't move as well, maybe I'd be kind of like become more that way. But hanging out with the younger guy that's an awesome mover, very athletic, good at like these nature um, gymnastics or whatever, then I become more that way. And I want to stay young. I want to, with calculated risk, take these chances that where you're just so in the moment. And they're like sometimes when I'd like, and this is something I learned from like martial arts also, but like today, I was jumping like from one log to another, and they were only like a few feet off the ground. This particular one, and I was jumping, and I would land on the other log, and then I wouldn't quite have my balance, and I'd have to jump back off. And it was usually when I would jump, and when I would land, I'm like, "Oh, I got it," and then and then I'd fall off. But if I could keep my mind from thinking, "Oh, I got it," then I would have it. So I was like, I recognized that that's what I was doing wrong, once or twice. I'm like, oh, I'm doing that thing again. So I just focused, and I would jumped, and maybe it's a 7, 8 foot jump. It's something like that. Seven, I don't know, whatever it was. And then I landed, and instead of thinking, oh, I got it, I just landed. And I was able to stick the landing that way. So what's the point? Do you get the point of that? Does that make sense? So, like in martial arts, sometimes think like, oh, I got him now. And then next thing you know, he's got you. Like, what went wrong? Well, because you weren't in the moment anymore. You were in the future. Make sense? So uh, I think there's a lot of application for that understanding in other parts of our lives, that besides just like jumping from one log to another, or um, in martial arts where, oh, I got him, and then you really don't. Where can you see that application? Where in your life have you thought, oh yeah, I got it now, and then you're like, oh man, I just messed it up. I was thinking, what just popped into my head is like maybe in a relationship. Maybe you're a guy, you meet this girl, she likes you, everything's going cool, and you're like, yeah, I got it now, and then like you get complacent for a second, or you slip into the future instead of the present, and then that opportunity is gone. I think well, I'm sure that when people go out to the woods, I know a lot of people that listen to the show or in the fitness business, or they like they're into fitness in whatever way, sometimes spiritual fitness sort of thing. It's yoga, it's martial arts. It's all kinds of stuff. People of all um, sorts, I guess, or other sorts of people of all types, whatever. We're all individuals, right? So there's all kinds of individuals that listen to this show, and I'd imagine that that kind of thing makes sense at these other levels. And sometimes maybe a little bit like song meanings or something that if you ever look up what, like, oh, I wonder what this song means, and you Google it and you're reading what it means by these other people that are, these random people that are posting, and it'll be all over the place. So you have the writer of the song isn't telling you what it means, but one person listens to this song and they get one meaning out of it. Somebody else listens to the song and they get another meaning out of it. Somebody else and sometimes they mishear a word, and so the meaning that they get isn't even what the song says, and sometimes that's on purpose. Robert Hunter, just happen to have a Robert Hunter book right here, has done that also. One song that I really like that he wrote is New Speedway Boogie. Please don't dominate the rap, Jack, if you got nothing new to say. If you please don't back up the track, this train's got to run today. Spend a little time on the mountain, spend a little time on the hill. Heard some say better run away, others say you better stand still. Now I don't know, but I've been told it's hard to run with the weight of gold. On the other hand, I heard it said it's just as hard with the weight of lead. Who can deny, it's not just a change in style. One step done and another begun, and I wonder how many miles. Spend a little time on the mountain, spend a little time on the hill. Things went down we don't understand, but I think in time we will. Now I don't know, but I've been told in the heat of the sun a man died of cold. Do we keep on coming or stand and wait with the sun so dark and the hour so late? You can't overlook the lack, Jack, of any other highway to ride. It's got no signs or dividing lines and very few rules to guide. Spend a little time on the mountain, spend a little time on the hill. I saw things getting out of hand. I guess they always will. I don't know, but I've been told if the horse don't pull, you got to carry the load. I don't know whose back's that strong. Maybe find out before too long. One way or another. One way or another. One way or another, this darkness got to give. One way or another. One way or another. One way or another, this darkness got to give. I think Robert Hunter is one of the best writers ever. Ever. Just well, I just turned to another one of my favorite songs. I have thousands of favorite songs, but these are towards the top. This is part of Terrapin Station. We'll see how far I get into it, but the first part's Lady with a Fan. Let my inspiration flow in toking lines suggesting rhythm that will not forsake me till my tale is told and done. While the fire lights aglow, strange shadows in the flames will grow till things we've never seen will seem familiar. God, that's so good. Shadows of a sailor forming, Winds both foul and fair all swarm. Down in Carlisle he loved a lady many years ago. Here beside him stands a man, a soldier by the looks of him, who came through many fights but lost at love. While the storyteller speaks, a door within the fire creaks, suddenly flies open, and a girl is standing there. Eyes alight with glowing hair, all that fancy paints as fair, she takes her fan and throws it in the lion's den. Which of you to gain me tell will risk uncertain pains of hell? I will not forgive you if you will not take the chance. The sailor gave at least a try, the soldier being much too wise. Strategy was his strength and not disaster. The sailor coming out again, the lady fairly leapt at him. That's how it stands today. You decide if he was wise. The storyteller makes no choice. Soon you will not hear his voice. His job is to shed light and not to master. Since the end is never told, we pay the teller off in gold in hopes he will come back, but he cannot be bought or sold. I better stop there before I read this whole book. What do those have to do with anything? No. That's like it. Speaking, what does this have to do with anything? Here's a random Rumi reading. I like to do random Rumi readings. Except I'm going to read a different random one. I have not pre-read this. While the thunder and lightning laugh, I recite paeans. I don't know that word. Paeans. I recite paeans of praise. I am full of light as the clear sky. I am circling around the moon. My tongue is knotted like Moses because of the pharaohs, for jealousy lest a pharaoh should discover my proof. Bind my hands if you find me in the encampment of a pharaoh, for I am the sultan's spy. I am not a spy. I am not a scandal. I am one of the secrets of sanctity. Let me go, since I am drunk, that I may let fly a vaunt. From wine, wind arises, for wine stirs up wind, especially the kind of wine through which I am distraught. If a whiff of this wine were to reach all of the world's aesthetics, what a desolation then will appear. What shall I say? I know not. Why speak of the wine? For if a whiff of those drunkards' breaths were to penetrate stone and marble, they would brag, I am the water of life. My being is a bachelor's apartment, and those drunkards are gathered together therein. My heart is distraught to know whether I am one of them, amazing, or myself, I am they. Whether I am their congener, or whether I am other than they, I do not know. All I know is this, that I am in peace and well-being. This is from Mystical Poems of Rumi, translated by A.J. Arbery. If I'm reading some Rumi, like when it says drunk, and wine, it doesn't really mean like he's been drinking wine and he's drunk. It's more like drunk on the wine of God kind of thing. Yeah, just random Rumi readings. To show, normally I have like an outline of stuff to go over, and I didn't make one today. It's like I started making one the other day. I haven't recorded in I think 2 weeks, and I think that's the longest I went. I think since I started this over a year ago. There may have been another 2-week thing, but I think a week is the longest I've been, because that was like my deal with myself going doing this podcast. But I'd like kind of have an idea, and then I'd go to write out the outline, and I wouldn't really have anything. So I was like, well, I don't want to just go on without having anything. And so I had some things already planned out for tonight's show. The our portfolio, and then I was glad I waited until after that experience with the owl. So it was like exactly the kind of thing that I'm talking about. Uh, Putting ourselves in these positions, our portfolio. So you can't. I couldn't say, yeah, you should go out to the woods, and then you'll be able to climb a tree, and you'll be like 3 feet away from an owl, and you can just look into the owl's eyes for like half hour. I mean, I just did it. I mean, why can't you do that? No, of course not. It might happen. You might have. I've been going out in the woods a long time. That's a first for me. That was amazing. Wanted to pet him so bad. I just wanted to touch him. I just didn't want a face full of beaks and extremely strong claws and predator. But what I could say is, like, if you go out to the woods and you're quiet, don't take your radio. Don't be texting. I was taking pictures. It's cool to take pictures, but just try. If you're not used to it, go out to the woods. Maybe don't even take the phone. Don't worry about the pictures. I like to do it, but sometimes I like to have my phone away also. And sometimes with all of this stuff, like we see Instagram, there's pictures of everything, which I think is cool. I do it too. But like I went with Joey to see one of my favorite guitar players, Estes Tonna. I'm not positive that's how you say the last name. Tonne. We saw him in Chicago. Mind blowing experience. He is an amazing guitar player. He has more than one song that are over an hour long. He's playing by himself, kind of like flamenco, gypsy kinds of stuff. It's amazing. It's absolute mastery of the instrument. But we went to see him, and after after the show, we were out in the lobby, and we were just like stretching out a little bit, doing some kind of like spontaneous yoga, qigong stuff, just stretching out and doing some things and talking about the show. And then all of a sudden, we see him come out, and he's talking to a few people, and I'm like, oh, cool. And so we kind of go up. There wasn't really a line, but he was just talking to a couple people. So we kind of just stood next to them. You know, obviously we want to talk to you. And so he got to us and he gives us a hug and I asked if I could see his hands. You know, he plays flamenco, so he plays with his fingers. He doesn't use a pick. And his hands it looks like he's been playing guitar like that for a long, long time. It was cool to see his hands. And so like Joey and I are talking to him and asking him questions about stuff, and then after we leave, it's like, oh, we didn't even get a picture. And when we were talking, it didn't even cross our minds to take a picture. You know, so many people, they want to go up to the famous guy and take the selfie. Oh, look, I met a famous guy. That's okay too. There's nothing wrong with that. I like totally get it. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying it's cool, but maybe don't do that every time. And if you can just be in the moment, you know, like him and I were that time. We had our phones right in our pocket. He probably would not have minded at all to have his picture taken, but it didn't even cross our minds. Totally in the moment, talking to one of my favorite guitar players who just put on an absolute spectacular masterpiece performance by himself. I have my ticket. I took a picture I think at the very beginning, before it started, before he was even came out. I don't think I took a picture of him. I could be wrong on that. And I think Joey just took his camera out like one time, took a picture of him. Didn't take. I took a short video before it started because there was like some other kinds of like music, like soundscape music kind of stuff on before he came out. So I took a short little video. And Joey was like the same thing. Didn't have his phone out the whole time, clicking away. It was just in the moment. It's like, what are you gonna do with the picture? You're gonna do something with it later. But when you're in the moment, you're not worrying about later. And so when you're building your portfolio of experiences, yeah, it's cool if you're like, I have pictures of me and my kids, different places and doing things. But maybe just like plan something like, we're going to do this. We're leaving our phones in the car. What if I need it for emergency? There's not going to be an emergency. It's fine. Well, if something really cool happens, good. Then don't mess it up by fiddling around with your phone. Instagram isn't going to miss it, right? So what kind of experiences do you want like with your kids? Like, what do you like to go do? I always like taking my kids out to the woods, and right now, like neither well, let me get into that. Well, it's the truth. Like my kids, neither one of them are like really talking to me now, but that's okay. I didn't do anything like bad or anything. It's just my daughter is 21, my son is 18, so it's pretty tough ages. Kind of like all the other ages, those are tough ages too. But when we were talking, which was most of the time, going out to the woods, going out to the movies, at these different parks, and I remember like one time taking them down to Brown County State Park, and we were playing around, and they're playing like ninjas. They're fighting ninjas out in the woods, like invisible ninjas. And my dad, when he would take me out to the woods, he showed me where the gnomes and elves live. And so I took my kids out, and I tried to show them where the gnomes and elves live, and try to show them like some of the like little secret ways of finding them. They're pretty hard to see. Let's see. I'm going to read something from the prophet Khalil Gibran. And a youth said, "Speak to us of friendship." And he answered, saying, "Your friend is your needs answered. He is your field which you sow with love and reap with thanksgiving. And he is your board and your fireside, for you come to him with your hunger, and you seek him for peace. When your friend speaks his mind, you fear not the nay in your own mind, nor do you withhold the a. And when he is silent, your heart ceases not to listen to his heart. For without his words in friendship, all thoughts, all desires, all expectations are born and shared with joy that is unacclaimed. When you part from your friend, you grieve not, for that which you love most in him may be clearer in his absence, as the mountain to the climber is clearer from the plain. And let there be no purpose in friendship save the deepening of the spirit. For love that seeks ought but the disclosure of its own mystery is not love, but a net cast forth, and only the unprofitable is caught. and let your best be for your friend. If he must know the ebb of your tide, let him know its flood also. For what is your friend that you should seek him with hours to kill? Seek him always with hours to live. I really like that part a lot. Seek him always with hours to live. For it is his to fill your need, but not your emptiness. And in the sweetness of friendship, let there be laughter and sharing of pleasures. For in the dew of little things, the heart finds its morning and is refreshed. I like that. I've read that one a bunch of times on the air. Is it called On the Air? I think it's called On the Air. Whatever it is, on the show. So when I look like, what else do I want in my portfolio? I have all these amazing things happening. This partnership with the gym, with a kettlebell instructor that I've admired for a long time. And now it's still kind of surreal a little bit sometimes to like look over and yeah, there we are working out together. I went today to the gym. We were training jiu-jitsu yesterday, and I left the mat open. After we cleaned it off, I left the mat open to dry out and air out. And when I went to put it back up, you know, in case he came in and wanted to work out, I didn't want stuff in the way. I saw that our names were written on the directory because we're in an office building. And so you walk in the main door and then you look to the left and there's a directory of all the businesses. And I looked over and there it was, Hadley Fitness and VF Kettlebell School. It's pretty amazing. And it's the same place. So VF, Valery Fedorenko, Hadley Fitness, that's me. And it's the same place. So why does it have two names? Well, because we each have our own identity. So there's like two things that are going on at this gym, this school. There's what I do and there's what he does. So I'm learning from him. I've been a kettlebell instructor. I've been certified for 4 years. I've been using them for almost 10 years. I'm pretty good with the kettlebell. He's better. That's good. So I'm learning from him. His way is a little different. So I'm learning how to do his way, and I will be an instructor in his method. That's something that I want. After deciding before, I was going to let my other certification expire. I wasn't going to get another certification. And then this amazing sequence of events happened where I ended up partnering with him, the best ever. So it's like, okay, I still want to do my own thing, but I want to learn, and I have the greatest guy to learn from partnering with me. So what him and I will be doing is he'll be doing his thing, I'll be doing my thing, and we'll also be doing some things together. So there's it's yeah, it's really cool to have it this way. I'm really proud of what we're doing, and anybody can come and train with us. So we're in Indianapolis. You can send me a message. You can send it to this email since you're listening to this show. It'll be the easiest to remember. It's fitnessandconsciousness@gmail.com. Sounds probably the easiest one to remember. Usually people get a hold of me other ways for training, but that's okay. You get a hold of me however you know how, and we'll do what you want. And so we do like one-on-one sessions, small groups, and you can bring your team. So if you have like a martial arts school, you have whether it's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school, MMA school, karate school, whatever, you can bring your group. We're only going to be training small groups at a time, like maybe up to like 7, 8 people, maybe at one time. We want to focus on a small number of people. We don't want 50 people showing up, and yeah, there's more money that way, but we want people to have individual attention and get the most out of this as possible. So you can come with your group as a group, and if you have like a lot of people in your group, maybe we'll divide it into 2 groups, whatever. We'll figure it out. Send me a message. We'll figure it out. I've trained martial artists in kettlebell lifting, and it helps. It helps a lot. I put one on my Instagram. My Instagram is at Hadley Fitness, and on my Facebook, Ryan Hadley. You can doesn't take much scrolling down to get to the. My friend Jody, she did 4 presses with each arm, 53 pounds, 4 times each arm, and then she explained what kettlebell lifting has done for her martial arts, and you can go on and on about it. I don't want this to get into like just those kind of technicalities of training, but more like, getting back to what are you spending your time on? What are you spending your money on? Is the money that you're spending, is it improving your life situation? Is it for these like great experiences? Like, how much did it cost me to go out to the woods today? Well, the park is free. It's just a park. Buck in gas money. So it took $1 and a few hours. Like say we're there for like 4 hours or so, having fun. So I spent 4 hours having fun, doing something I wanted to do. Amazing experience. And then a bunch of other cool, like I saw frogs, and there's woodpeckers, and there's so cool. It was such a great time. But you have to like Joe Rogan puts it, he has to go out and have these experiences like out in nature and doing these different things, so he has something to talk about for his stand-up comedy, and maybe for like his so like if all you're doing is he's does stand-up comedy, but he does other things too. He's hosting UFC, he's or a commentator for the UFC, and does the podcast. But say like if I just did the podcast, I didn't leave my house, all I do is the podcast, I'd run out of stuff to talk about. You have to go out and experience things, and then you have things to talk about. And like today, I had a show pretty much ready to go, and go out and have this experience that was just, it's going to take me a while to unpack that experience. But that's exactly what I'm talking about for the portfolio. The experience portfolio, how I spent my time. I could have said, I work so much, I'm just going to lay on the couch and rest. And those thoughts didn't really cross my mind. Joey sends me a message and wants to go out into the woods. Like, yes, I want to go out to the woods. It's super nice out. And even if it wasn't, let's go anyway, because it's whatever it is out. So I think I'll close the show on with that. Just go out and build that portfolio. Thanks for tuning in. Podcast is doing really great. I really appreciate it. I think that couple weeks off helped me to put a better show together. So thank you, everyone. Build that portfolio. Thank you for tuning in.